All right, welcome back to the two-stroke turbo channel, all you two-stroke turbo lovers. Look at Stella out there in the yard, just soaking up that sunshine, the glorious sunshine. It's going to be another 80-degree day here in Portland, Oregon in October. We've broken records having 5 consecutive 80-degree days. We've never ever had that before, and I guess we're up for more. And we're up for more working on cars. What are we doing today? Let's see. This is a 1986 Toyota Land Cruiser. I've featured this particular car on my video channel before. Put a clutch in it. We've done a few things with the gas tank, carburetor, DEQ, and tune-ups. And the guy brings it in about once a year. I think we did a radiator. That looks pretty new. And he says something about the air conditioning. I think the AC compressor has finally given up. So we're going to check that out. And I was just doing some inspection. Basically, an annual inspection is more than what you'd think. It's more than just a cursory look over, you know, a sweeping glance. I kind of feel stuff. You can tell if the head gasket's getting old, if all the hoses are pressurized. You want to check all the fluids. But I just put my hand up here on the carburetor, and I was like, it's loose. Is the air filter loose? No, the whole carburetor is moving. If you look close, it's an adapter, or this is not the original carburetor. The adapter plate is loose on the manifold. I don't know how this thing was running without a huge vacuum leak, but if I wiggle this, let's see here. It's all loose, so something's up here. I got to take the carburetor off and figure out why the carburetor is flopping around. He didn't mention that. It looks like we might need a little brake fluid. Anyhow, part of the inspection on an older car like this is checking everything. I'm going to put it up in the rack, and I'll start pulling on the suspension and springs and making sure it's all good. Let's pull that carburetor apart and see what's going on. That's not right. Okay, so we've got our Weber carburetor. It's not a DGV. I think it's a DG. It's a 38 millimeter progressive, but both barrels open at the same time. And the adapter is loose. If I wiggle this, can you hear it? So it's a sandwich plate. This one here bolts to that one, and that one is the one that's loose. I don't know if it's a phenolic block, like a insulator or what, but I've got to take these apart and see how it's fitted on there. Was not expecting to do this today, but it's all right. We'll get her fixed up. If that's a potential vacuum leak or gas leak, it's got to be sealed. All right, so we've peeled down the layers. This is the second adapter. The bottom adapter was the one that's loose, and I've resealed that. The gasket's in good shape, but I put Loctite on all the bolts and torqued the countersunk screws. This one then goes on top of that one. I've got to get some sealant on that, and then the carburetor, and then it shouldn't be loose. Doesn't seem like it was doing anything. I don't know if it had a vacuum leak or not. The customer said the car has been running fine, but we're going to make sure it stays that way. Okay, it's a little while later. Still working on our Land Cruiser. We now have a solid carburetor. Got all the mounting. You can see the layers of adapters there to make this carburetor work. It works really well, but it does require some adaptation. And that's, I think, a wrap. Start this thing up and see how it idles, I guess. That's probably... Make sure I got my rag out of the intake. Yes, I did. That would be bad. Let's turn the AC off. Pushing the clutch just to be sure. Fired right up. Joker's on a little bit. It's a great engine. I'll tell you what, I think it's a 4.2 2F. Copied after a Stovebolt 6 Chevrolet is what I'm told. So I think that's going to be better. Yeah, that's better. We're out on the open road giving the Land Cruiser a test drive. It's a very big vehicle. I'm not used to vehicles this big. Pretty neat gauge cluster. Has a big combination gauge. Should probably turn my flashlight off here. I don't know if that'll help or not. There we go. Tachometer in the middle. It's like a Porsche and a truck. 4-speed. Has good power. Just very torquey. Especially with that carburetor. Good running rig. Let's turn around. The brakes are very responsive. Very big, not too tippy. Whoop, don't put reverse. Reverse is down, that second gear. Neat old truck. This thing is an 86 or maybe even an 85. It's still on the road today. 216,000 miles. What a great old truck. Just minimal things is all you need. Make sure nobody's coming. Yeah, it's a good runner. Really like this old rig. Not particularly fast, but gets the job done. 4th gear. Still has the choke knob when it originally had a carburetor of a different make, probably the original equipment carburetor. It had a manual choke. Does not have manual choke anymore. Still has the, or has the Weber conversion that's electric choke. We'll get out and walk around this thing because it's a pretty cool truck. Toyota quality, I tell you. Purrs like a kitten. Feel that exhaust, just super smooth. What a great old rig. Wish the world had more of these. Super fantastic. That's a cool old truck.